Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful 9th of January, 2024. Brrr, it's cold outside. Yeah, winter's finally come in this part of the country. Oh, yes. Come at the Tuesday Rant with Crusty Canuck. That's right. Topics will be, is the UN worth it? Consensus, where some politicians are thinking that Canada should just leave the United Nations and tell them to leave this hell alone. Plus, coffee and donuts given to protesters in Toronto, and a reporter roughed up by security because they just don't like his bad words. All that more coming up the Tuesday Rant. Please stick around. Listener and view discretion is advised because I do like to swear, smoke cigarettes, and drink coffee and make funny faces. See you in a bit. And that's right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tuesday Rant for this beautiful 9th of January, 2024. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. And if you like and hear what you see, please click like and subscribe. Share this podcast all over your social media platform and tell the world that us Canucks have something to say too. Hello, everybody. Hope you had all a good weekend and you're still kind of recovering from the New Year's blitz. I know a few of my coworkers and some friends were calling me up and talking to me later about how hungover they were and all this good stuff. It doesn't really matter. I don't drink like I used to. But anyhow, as the title card said, ladies and gentlemen, yes, is the UN worth it? Coffee and donuts given to protesters and a reporter roughed up by security. So the consensus, Dr. Leslie Lewis, MP, conservative sitting MP in our House of Commons in our parliament, basically started a petition. That's right. Speak English, Johnny. That's right. A petition to get rid of our ties to the UN. Now, I got a thing here from Brian Lilly, reporter for the Sun News out of Toronto. Basically gives his 2 cents worth and why we should. I'm a firm believer, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what you think out there. But when I look at the United Nations, I don't look at it anymore as a force for good. I look at them as a tool of a step to a world government, a world governance per se, a world where the elites are here and the rest of us are down here, kind of thing. And I remember the UN being admired at one time when it came to helping with actual pandemics, actual sicknesses, actual catastrophes. Now I don't see the UN as a force for good, especially since the last pandemic, because of their stances on world health, unqualified people telling other people what to do, unqualified physicians telling legitimate physicians what to do, and just how they've handled a lot of affairs. Now, I had the honor of serving with and working for soldiers that were on the United Nations peacekeeping forces back in the 1990s. In Canada, we call the 1990s the decade of darkness when it comes to military affairs, because there were some incidents where the handful of soldiers did some stupid things. However, leadership and politicians alike try to cover it up. I'm not going to mention any names. I'm going to mention any units. But to my dedicated listeners and fans out there who served in the Canadian military during that time, they know exactly what I'm talking about. And the United Nations did not pose to be a force for good, because a few of the soldiers I served with that were in Croatia, Bosnia, Herzegovina, former Yugoslavia, some of the stories they had to tell us once we graduated our courses and once we got into battalion and got to know these guys, some of their stories that we were telling us in regards to the United Nations helping, quote unquote, helping people, were not very effective when it come to ceasefires, when it come to peace accords, when it come to ethnic cleansing, and when it come to money being spent. Now, there was a general that we had in our military, Romeo Dallaire, who was part of the UN peacekeeping force there in Rwanda. And they had one hell of a genocide there. And to make a long story short, he needed help from the UN. They didn't give him help. They wanted to keep the cost down. And he pleaded for help to get more troops there to stop or to thwart any kind of onslaught. Now, the United Nations just sat back and watched it happen, basically. And I'm basically in support of Dr. Leslie Lewis, the MP with the Conservative Party, who wants to sign the petition and send it forward. I signed it. I will leave a link in my description, ladies and gentlemen, if you do want to sign the petition in regards to leaving the UN and some of the mandates they have pushed, especially the past 10 years, in regards to the climate, in regards to jibby jabs, in regards to gender affirmations and all that other good stuff, and in regards to what Canadians and other members of the United Nations must do with their currencies to thwart any further catastrophe. They're obviously in cahoots with the WEF, the World Economic Forum, and they're obviously in cahoots with whatever elitist group out there that wants to tell people like you and me what to F and do, what music to listen to, how to carry on with our lives, how many electric vehicles we should drive, and all this good stuff. Eh? Oh my God, it's just going to be one big effing utopia, said no one. To make a long story short, ladies and gentlemen, I personally don't believe the UN is worth it anymore because it's no longer the end of World War II. It's no longer in between famines. It's no longer in between any kind of really, really terrible medical catastrophe. It's all about control. Right? It's all about control, ladies and gentlemen. It has nothing to do with the betterment of humanity. It has nothing to do with the betterment of this country or that country. To me, it's a farce. Okay. It's a farce purely because how many governments in this country have pined and whined for getting a seat on the Security Council, right? And for what benefit? What benefit is going to happen to Canada if we sit on the Security Council? Excuse me. What is going to benefit our country? Okay, we tried. Potato Prime Minister Putthead, Mr. Pert Plus himself, tried to get a seat on the Security Council, and he was voted down. Yet, ironically enough, China, Russia, and I think Iraq is on the Security Council. Eh? Isn't that interesting? Interesting indeed, jawohl. And what have they done in the past few years? You know, hint, hint, you know, the invasion of Ukraine, bad treatment of their own peoples, respectively. You know, human rights gone out the window, right? Where was the UN when the Syrian civil war was going on? Where's the UN when the Yemen civil war is happening right now? Where's the UN when it comes to what's going on in the Red Sea with ships being hijacked? Where's the UN when it comes to negotiating with Hamas, Hezbollah, Taliban, ISIS, everything? Where's the UN on these things? Right? What has the UN really done for world hunger? They've got a world food program, but even that kind of speaks for itself. World food program, right? Where are all these protectorates and stuff, you know? There's a lot of money that goes to the United Nations. It's almost like how we give our money to the British monarchy, and we have to give money to the United Nations. Why? Why do we have to do that anymore? If you'd like to answer that question, please feel free. Reach me at crustybcanuck67@gmail.com. The link is in the description for you to follow, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be right back after this.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You are back to the Crusty Canuck podcast for this 9th of January, 2024. The Tuesday Rant with yours truly, Crusty Canuck. Yes, the UN worth it. Coffee and donuts given to protesters and a reporter roughed up by security. And I've got some video from the fine Ezra Levant from Rebel Media there. Some like footage that was captured on that. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck, ladies and gentlemen. And one more time, if you do like and hear what you see, please click like and subscribe. Share this content all over your social media platforms. A special thank you out there to my new listeners from South Carolina. Welcome aboard. Thank you. Thank you very much. I look at my stats on Podbean and I see more South Carolinians downloaded my show. So thank you guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you very much to my American listeners and my British listeners. I've just found out too, and a couple of individuals that listen to me in the Philippines. Well done, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Thank you. I am very, very grateful. Thank you for downloads, and please share my stuff all over your side of the globe too. Anyway, carrying on with this Tuesday rant for this beautiful 9th of January, 2024. Now it's colder outside, ladies and gentlemen, so bundle up. We've actually got about a foot of snow out there now. And I was working today, and it's about minus 17 Celsius with a little wind chill of about minus 28. Oh, joy. Smack my ass, call me cutie, freezing my ass off. Luckily, I was bundled up, and I was only feeding today, and I wasn't moving any manure or other things. But still, today was a cold day. But that gives you insight, and that gives you incentive, too, to what other Canadians have to go through this time of year when it comes to keeping the lights on, keeping food in the fridge and coffee brewed, and to be able to cuddle with our loved ones. Work and sacrifice, ladies and gentlemen. Work and sacrifice we're not seeing from our local politicians. Work and sacrifice we're not really seeing from any politician these days because of woke mandates, because of BS, and because of the United Nations and handing coffee to protesters. So what I'm going to do here, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to cue up a video that Ezra Levant has from Rebel Media there too. Now, whether you love him or hate him, love Rebel Media, love independent media or not, it's going to show the contrast and the clown world we live in, ladies and gentlemen. It is. It's going to show how protests are good and some protests are bad. Protest good, protest bad, protest good, protest bad. Which is it? You decide. You know, because how many times the mainstream media told us to suck eggs in regards to the jibby jab and being locked down and doing your part for your community, right? When some of these communities were failing and losing money and losing their minds in the name of wokeness and safety. Anyway, I'll cue up this video, ladies and gentlemen, and you guys decide on your own, because that's what I encourage here in the podcast. If you listen to my show and you like what you hear and see and all that stuff, I encourage you all to think for yourselves. I'm not going to tell you what to think. I can tell you what to say, what to believe in, because deep down inside, we all believe in basic liberty and just to leave us the hell alone. But like I said, I'll cue this up here, and you decide, folks, which is good, which is feasible, which is ethical. Now, according to this video, the police did not buy they didn't buy the coffee or the donuts, but these protests have been going on in Toronto around Jewish areas. So these are pro-Hamas, these are Palestinian Canadians, these are Arab Canadians, these are supporters of Palestine, and they're protesting. And just take a look at the actions of these officers here, and you decide, ladies and gentlemen. You might have to adjust your volume accordingly. There's some audio issues with this video, not mine end, but on the Twitter end or the X end. But you decide, ladies and gentlemen, and think for yourselves in this too. It's just, I find it really, really odd that this is going on. Like, you'll see the contrast here. You know, I'll just cue this up to make everything hospitable. There we go. And like I said, folks, you decide.
They can't come back, otherwise he would have said, okay, I understand.
Okay, I'll just ask just so. Sorry, it's the person with the vest.
Jihad? Yeah, I was straight at it. Yeah, I know the guy. No, yeah, the guy with the yellow vest on.
How did you get coffee from the police?
We're not the police. Someone has brought it for us, but the police won't let them in. So the police are now becoming our little messengers between us. I don't know. I have no idea what's going on. We're on the bridge. They're not letting anyone else come on, which makes no sense. Because if we're already on the bridge, how is there public safety?
Yeah, kind of odd, don't you think? Now, according to the police chief of Toronto, that coffee was not purchased by any TPS member and given to the protesters per se. Somebody said, oh, here, can you hand this to this guy over here? Or can you hand this there? You know, okay, kind gesture, but in the same sense, doesn't look too promising. When the when the convoy was going on, okay, how many police officers handed the convoy protesters or the convoy members any coffee or any donuts or anything to eat, right? And the footage is out there, ladies and gentlemen. So whether you agree with the Freedom Convoy or not, the footage is out there of people sharing food, sweeping up the streets, keeping things clean, keeping things civil, keeping the emergency lanes open, right? Well, the city of Ottawa told people to close their businesses, and there was a horrendous amount of police presence there. And a lot of TPS guys were up there. Ottawa Police, Sûreté de Québec, RCMP, and other police services told to come in and help with the protest. And now you've got police officers in Toronto handing coffee to Hamas and Palestinian supporters in a predominantly Jewish area. Speaks for itself. I'm not saying the TPS is anti-Semitic. I'm not saying any of those protesters are anti-Semitic. But why the presence? Why is that? And why would anybody want to do that to begin with? A police officer say, hand out the coffee yourself. Doesn't matter where that police officer sits on the fence of politics. He or she has no time to worry about it. They have to keep the peace. That's the priority. That's what I understand of policing, according to some of my friends who are in the OPP and the RCMP and MPs that are still serving today. Right? You're supposed to have an unbiased approach. So those gestures proved a hell of a lot, regardless of what the intention was of that police officer handing over that 10 cup Timmy's or handing over the cups. Right? And it doesn't matter if someone bought it for him or not. Like, when did police officers become butlers and servers? Right? Are they waiters too? Who knows? Proof would be in the pudding.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, one more time to the Tuesday Rant with yours truly, Crusty Canuck. For this 9th of January, 2024. Is the UN worth it? Coffee and donuts given to protesters and a reporter roughed up by security. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck. One more time, if you like and hear what you see, please click like and subscribe, and especially my YouTube subscribers and Rumble subscribers, give a comment and give a thumbs up, get the algorithm going, get things generated and all this too. And I got a special message out there for all these so-called social media distributors and all these individuals that say, oh, I'll get you all these views and I'll get you all this and I'll get you all that for this price and that price. Okay, brace yourself. I'm going to swear here. Fuck off. Okay? I'm getting sick and tired of these fly-by-nighters, little scammers who have this page and that page and say they've helped so many out and give me organic views. What I want is people like-minded people that watch YouTube or people that watch Rumble and people just want to be inspired, people that want information to choose for themselves. I would like to make money in this podcast, ladies and gentlemen. I really would. And it takes viewers like you to make that happen. But I'm not going to subdue myself to some great idea. So all these fly-by-nighters and all these social media experts that want to help me promote this and charge me this price for subpar views or subpar subscribers or bots, whatever, fuck off. Okay? I'm tired of it. This week alone, I've had maybe about 7 people on my Crusty Canuck page on Facebook tell me, oh, I'll do this for you. I'll do that for you. I'll say again, fuck off. I got better things to do. Anyhow, make a long story. Carry on with this episode. Anyway, before I blow a gasket here, the Tuesday Rant. Is the UN worth it? Coffee and donuts given to protesters and a reporter roughed up by security. So David the Menzoid Menzies, he is a reporter for Rebel Media. He was a predominant reporter for Sun News when they had a channel on the airwaves. And he's a journalist. He's a qualified journalist. He trained in Ryerson in the early 80s, so he's got his journalist certificate. He has a diploma, a degree in journalism, so he knows his shit. He's got a sense of humor. And there are stories and situations that the Rebel covers I don't agree with. I wish they would take more initiative when it comes to looking into other independent journalists that want to share stories with them. Okay, that's just me, though. Anyway, Mr. Menzies was trying to talk to our deputy PM, our Miss Krista Freeland, tilts her head when she's talking to Mr. Speaker. The dizzy cow. Make a long story short, she was in Richmond Hill. They were having a memorial for those people that were killed 4 years ago by the Iranian National Guard when the plane was shot down. And 57 Canadians were killed. And still the Canadian government refuses to do anything about it. Make a long story short, she was there just for basically brownie points and to win hearts and minds, whatever hearts and minds still have any kind of loyalty to the Liberal brand in this country. But he was trying to talk to Miss Krista Freeland, and he was basically roughed up by her security. Now, there's the name of this individual is out there. I just haven't looked it up yet. But I want you, ladies and gentlemen, to watch this video and to think for yourself if this guy was out of line or not. Now, I'm all for freedom of the press, ladies and gentlemen. I personally don't care what rag you represent, what TV show you represent, what news group, what mainstream media conglomerate you work for, or independent conglomerate you work for. I personally don't believe in roughing up any kind of journalist. When you look at some parts of history, when you look at some of the journalists and some of the dumb questions they've asked some people, you do get the urge, you want to punch them in the face. You want that notional pause and just go boom right? Okay, I get it. It's wrong. It's wrong. Because like I say, I believe in freedom of the press and expression. And if you think a reporter is being a little too aggressive, then you tell them, hey, back off. You're being too aggressive. Hey, okay, ask me a better question than that. You want to know something? Talk to me. Don't talk at me. Okay? Menzies is very aggressive. He gets to the point. Now, he didn't lay a hand on Miss Freeland or her assistant. He was aggressive with the microphone, but obviously he was a press and he has credentials. He's trained and he has credentials through the press corps. So make a long story short, I personally don't think he was in the wrong. I think that security detail is trying a little too hard based on the orders that come from higher, i.e. like Miss Freeland and Mr. Potato Man himself, Mr. Sockboy, Pert Plus, the Prime Minister. But here, you watch the video and listen. Like I said, just your volume accordingly, ladies and gentlemen. And tell me what you think. Okay. I'll just cue this up here and tell me what you think. You know, CrustyBCanuck67 at gmail.com, or send a comment on the tube or Rumble respectively, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we'll go from there. But I just find it odd. This clown world is constantly calling the shots for you and me. So let's just try to be as realistic and try to be as open as possible. Like I say, you decide, folks.
How come the IRGC is not a terrorist group? Why is your government supporting Islamo-Nationalism? What? You did me. What are you doing? You're under arrest for assault. What, sir? Are you pushing me? You're under arrest for assault.
Wow.
Who are you? You're under arrest for assault. Police, you're under arrest. How am I under arrest? You bumped into me. You pushed into me. You bumped. I was just scrubbing. I got my credentials here, and you just bumped into me. So excuse
Police,
me.
You're under arrest.
What is your name and your badge? What is your name and your badge?
You've been told you're under arrest.
Why am I under arrest? He blocked my way. What? I was just scrumming Christian Freeland.
I'm a police officer. You're under arrest.
What is your name and your badge number?
Sad.
How is that possible?
Okay, because
You assaulted me 3 years ago when blackface was back.
very aggressive.
You mean I was asking questions aggressively?
No, your actions were. You were almost pushing everybody over. That's what it appears.
Lincoln, you got this on video, right? He's saying I'm pushing people over. That's an absolute falsehood.
There were feet were shuffling.
So now it appeared that way. That's what you're saying, officer. It appeared I was pushing people. I didn't touch a single person.
That was a little bit aggressive for what was happening. Get that? You're under arrest. Please take the microphone out of my face.
Well, I'd like an ongoing record of this.
Can I have the microphone? Can I have the microphone? Can I have the microphone? Can you give?
I'm not officer. Take your hand out. Why am I under arrest? I'm just doing my job.
Resist. You don't need to resist.
I don't have.
You don't have to say anything. You know the drill.
I have nothing to hide, officer. Welcome to Black Faces Canada. This is what they do to journalists. I was merely scrumming Minister Freeland, and a RCMP officer blocked me, and evidently this is now a trumped-up charge of assault, folks. I didn't come here to cause any trouble. I came here to do my job, and now I'm handcuffed. This is your Canada now, folks. You know, this is the Gestapo taking blackface's orders. Outrageous. And meanwhile, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps is not a terrorist organization. Is not a terrorist organization. And these liberals have the audacity to show up at a vigil for a plane in which almost 200 people were killed, 57 Canadians, one unborn child, by the way. And look at this. They don't want, it is against the law in Black Faces Canada to ask insensitive questions, impolite questions. So a Canadian government that props up an Islamo-fascist regime, that's okay. But if you ask questions about that, that's not okay. This is an absolute outrage. I didn't come here to cause trouble, folks. I just came here to ask questions.
You're going to have to back up a little bit, okay? They're conducting an
That's my cameraman, sir. He's not doing anything.
No, I just want to provide some space so that everybody's safe here, okay?
Okay. You know, like that was just really York Region, really RCMP overboard, eh? Now, according to Ezra Levant and David the Menzoid Menzies, There was a follow-up on that. You can check them out on their channel there too. He basically gave feedback on what was going on there. And he more or less said he was arrested, driven away. They eventually took the cuffs from his back to his front. He wasn't a threat. They just basically drove him down the road. But you can still understand that it's kind of like a Gestapo thing. Yeah, I just will take you over here. You will sit over there and you'll shut your mouth and you'll leave the good people alone. Jawohl. That's the way I look at it, right? Now, if that was a CTV reporter who had a legitimate question? What if that was a global reporter or CBC or one of the, the breakfast television, City TV? I remember when City TV was actually pretty cool. Now it's just gone to crap. Okay. But what if it was one of the mainstream media legacy companies? The people that received the 600 million plus incentive back in 2021 and other perks that are about to come this coming fiscal year. What would happen if that happened to, let's say, a female reporter, or a female reporter who happened to be black, or a female reporter who happened to be gay, or a female reporter who happened to come from here, or a male reporter who was there who identifies as a shoehorn? Then when you got, there'd be chaos in the streets. People were screaming to the heavens. So you see the contrast here, right? You see the contrast of what's going on. It's got to be about what the government agrees with, or the authority, what they agree with. Okay. You saw the coffee and you saw how they acted towards Mr. Menzies. Okay. Now, what if you and I were in a situation where we just stand there minding our own business and a politician walked by and we just said, hey, what are you doing with this policy? Hey, what are you doing with this bill? Would that be deemed as assault? That'd be deemed as too aggressive? Chances are half these clowns just walk away anyway, and then you have their detail just kind of sneering at you, giving the old stink eye because they got nothing better to do, right? Because they're all worried about their jobs and their comfort, okay? So what I'm seeing here, and you just saw it yourselves, ladies and gentlemen, or heard it if you're just listening to the show, okay? The clown world that's being promoted and given to us on a daily basis. So all the more reasons to leave the UN, because the UN would like to mandate that kind of behavior. WEF like the kind of behavior too. There's NDP officials in this country right now that are really, really pushing the whole UBI thing because they think it's going to help the environment. It's going to help the less fortunate. On paper, it would help the less fortunate, but you and I both know too, it'd become a reliance on the government teat. Okay. And like I said, I've had people give me a hard time because I got a pension from the military. That's because I did 20 years, ladies and gentlemen, and I got hurt on the job. So I get a pension for doing that. Okay. That's the perks of serving your country for 20 years. See, we don't have it lucky enough. Us plebes don't have it lucky enough where you serve 6 years and you get a hearty pension if you serve in Parliament. Okay. But this is I'm rambling on about other benefits. But when you see this kind of behavior, and it doesn't matter from whom, like I said, or like I asked too, what if that was a reporter from CTV or Global or CBC or somebody associated with the legacy media, right? There'd be outrage. There'd be riots in the streets. Nobody be handing the protesters coffee, right? So to my listeners and viewers alike, it doesn't matter where you are in the world, keep an eye out for that kind of behavior. What are you allowed to say? What are you allowed to protest? What are you allowed to ask? What are you allowed to listen to? What are you allowed to promote? Okay, storm's coming, but it'll be in our favor. The people that just want to be left the hell alone. You know what I mean? And the new light is coming. Right? That's all I can say. Anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, I have been Crusty Canuck on this beautiful 9th of January, 2023. I wish nothing but good things out there for you all. Recovering from Christmas is hard for a lot of people because some people did spend a lot of money they didn't have. Some people didn't spend too much because they don't have it to begin with. But needless to say, let us wish for brighter and more beautiful things this fiscal year. I've been laying some groundwork for some writing. My co-writer and I are getting ahead as we speak on certain issues and on certain predicaments. We're reaching out to certain individuals, and we're trying to get a TV show made. So we'll see how that works out. Needless to say, ladies and gentlemen, perseverance is key here. Things are tight for a lot of people, but to do what you can to help each other out in these trying times. If you want to donate to my podcast, feel free to. I'm not going to demand money, but if you want to donate $1, $2, $5, $10 a month just check out my links in my description, and you can donate it at your leisure, ladies and gentlemen. But like I always say, too, do what you can, help you out in these trying times. It's snowy out, so bundle up, try to stay warm. It is a bit colder out here in beautiful Alberta, but use your common sense. Don't speed. It is still a bit icy out there, so take your time. Don't be in a rush, and do what you can just to be good to yourself and others. And like I always say, ladies and gentlemen, humanity and merit wins the day. Stay tuned for updates, and I will have another episode coming this Saturday. So stay tuned to your listings and look for the Crusty Canuck podcast wherever podcasts are being played. We'll talk to you then. Bye for now.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me. Yes, sir. There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthy.
This has been another episode of the Crusty Canuck podcast. Stay sane and thank you for listening. From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast.
Well, smack my ass and call me Judy.